it's Lauren, and today, do I have a story for you. Now, I know in my last video, which was everything you need to pack for a Caribbean cruise, I talked about how the next videos I would be posting were gonna be fun, travel videos, you know, vacation, all that good stuff. Well, they're coming, but this one needs to come first. The message of this video is why you should never book your flights through your cruise line. That sounds like such a great idea, especially how they word it online of, oh, we are responsible, we will take care of you, all that stuff. Wrong. And I'm gonna tell you exactly why. So I just got back from a 8-day Caribbean cruise to Mexico, Honduras, and Belize, and I went with Norwegian Cruise Line. Now, I've gone on Norwegian before, one time before, and I had an absolute blast. We went to the Bahamas. It was pretty quick, like a little 5-day one, but I had so much fun because of the atmosphere on the ship. They're all about like parties and the nightlife and things like that, which is super, super fun for me. And this is the first cruise that I went on without a parent. So the responsibility and the planning and all that stuff was on me. So when I was, you know, researching and booking this cruise, I saw that you could get your airfare through the cruise line, and they're saying, oh, we'll take care of you. If there's any problem, we're responsible. And I was like, perfect. I want to pass that responsibility onto someone else. So that's what I did. Plus it ended up being a little bit cheaper, which was surprising, but you know, whatever. Probably because they have, you know, relationships with the airlines, which is exactly what I was told on the phone. So I, you know, give them the information, here you go, book, you know, me and my friend flights, all that stuff, and so they did. And when I received the confirmation and the details and all that stuff, on the way down, it was a connecting flight, and we were flying American Airlines. I don't have anything against American Airlines, I have flown them before. However, I don't like connecting flights, especially like when you have a specific time and place that you need to be. And two, I really do prefer Delta. I prefer Delta, and I prefer direct flights, which I did not have on the way down, but I did have on the way back, so whatever. It made me feel a little uneasy at first because I was like, great, it's not Delta and it's not a direct flight, but then I remembered they are responsible. Remember that, because they're not. So the day comes and we wake up at like 3 in the morning, so we could leave the house at 3:30 in the morning to get to the airport at 4:30 in the morning. So we started our day at 3 a.m. Absolutely insane. We get to the airport, literally everything goes smoothly. We checked our bags fast, we got through security fast, we found our gate fast, just hung out there. She got coffee because she likes coffee. I didn't because I don't like coffee. And we got on the plane. Everything was on time. I was like, okay. All right, I was worried for nothing, you know. I had like a weird feeling. My sixth sense was acting up, and I was like, ooh, I feel a little anxious. I don't know why, like all this stuff has gone smooth, but you'll see. I was right. We get on the plane and we sit down, and it looks like literally everyone's on the flight. I was like, perfect, like let's go, like let's get going. I'll have a little extra time in my layover, which wasn't already like a long layover, but the Chicago airport is pretty big, so I wanted that extra time to find my way around it. As we're sitting there, the pilot comes on over the intercom and is like,
yeah, I'm gonna have to turn the plane off and, you know, try and reset this.
so yes, even a plane, how to reset something, you just turn it off and on again. Like it's literally like your phone. He does that, and it's very eerie. Everything was dead silent. The lights went off. It was pretty dark because again, the sun hadn't even come up yet, and turns it back on. And I was like, cool, okay, whatever, a little hiccup. Maybe that's what that anxious feeling was for. I don't know. Wrong. The pilot comes back on the intercom and is like,
yeah, I'm gonna need everyone to get off the plane because we're gonna have the mechanics come and look at this and turn the plane off and on a few times.
great. Now we're gonna miss our connecting flight. So, just like everyone else, we all get in a massive line. Like everyone on the flight gets in a line because everyone had connecting flights, everyone had somewhere to be, and so they're scrambling trying to figure out how to get people on different flights. While we're in line and waiting to talk to the gate people, I'm calling the number that I was given by Norwegian to call if there was any sort of issues or emergencies with the air. So I called them, and the lady that I was talking to was like,
oh yeah, no, it's like, we're not responsible. It's the airline's duty to protect you.
she kept saying they have to protect you, and I did not know what that meant, but basically, like, they just have to fix the issue. I don't know why you can't just use normal words and we'll have to say protect, but whatever. So we get up and talk to the gate agents, and he switches us our flights, and now we're leaving later, and we get in pretty close. Like, it's cutting it close. Like, we were gonna get in at about 3 o'clock, 3:15, and you know, you still have to drive over to the port and get through all that and whatever. But I was like, okay, you know what? I can't just sit here because we're not gonna make the connecting flight and all this crazy stuff. So I said, fine. So he switches us to those, and we're waiting. As we're waiting, I watched the flight continue to be delayed, and I was like, what's happening? It's like, the plane's not even here yet. Why does it keep getting delayed? So I called that number again, and by this time, this is like the 4th or 5th time that I have called this Norwegian number, and finally I get someone who actually is competent, and his name was Roger. Roger was an OG. He really helped us out. He scrambled. He was like, I see this Delta flight. It's more money than like what had already been spent, but I do want to like help you guys get there. Thank you. And so he books us on it, and I was like, okay, well, we gotta go because Delta is not in this terminal. Delta has its own terminal. So we're running, and we have to, number 1, go and get our bags back. Number 2, get over to the other side of the airport. Number 3, check in and redo all that crap. We run around, we're trying to find our bags, we go to like a bunch of different places, then we have to wait for them to come, baggage claim. Then we have to find a shuttle to take us all the way to the other side of the airport. We run in, and we run up to the guy, I'm like, check us in. I don't have any of the information. Here's my name, this is the flight, whatever. And he's like,
Ooh, sorry, I can't.
what do you mean you can't? I'm right here. And he said, well, the check-in process stops 30 minutes before boarding begins. And I was like, that doesn't even make any sense, and you're gonna override that, or you're gonna find someone that can override it. And he said, no, it's the system. Like, you can't override it. I was like, there has to be a way. There has to be someone above you that can override it. And he was just not being helpful. He was being really annoying. So I walk away from him completely defeated, and basically we make our way back over to American Airlines and recheck our bags, go through security, go to the exact same gate, and just continue to wait. I'm so stressed because even if this plane continues to be on time, and by on time I mean the delayed time that it is posted right now, and we get in, you know, it's possible that we would make it, but it was gonna be so tight and so like 50-50, who knows. Well, we get on the plane and it gets a little bit more delayed, and I was like, great, that's it. We're done. We're done for. But as we're flying, the pilot made up that extra 15-20 minutes in the air. So we landed at the time that was proposed. We split up when we landed. She went to go get the bags from baggage claim, and I also went to baggage claim, but I sprinted past where our bags were going to the Norwegian Cruise Line little booth type of thing, because we had paid for like a shuttle with them. And I go up to them, and I was like, we're here, are we gonna make it, blah blah blah. She said, let me check. She calls them, oh, you're closing the doors in 2 minutes, okay. She's like, yeah, no, you're not gonna make it. Ugh. And go back, meet my friend, grab our bags, I tell her what happened. We make our way to more guest services type of thing, and explained to them, I was like, all right, now you have to get us to Roatan, because that's how it works. If you miss the ship, you have to fly out to the first port, or the first port that you can get to. We began that process, and that took over 2 hours to get new flights. And while all that was happening, I was talking to a supervisor at Norwegian who was completely unhelpful. She made no sense, and basically everything that they say on their website is untrue. They do not help you. They aren't there for you. They don't protect you, if you want to use that word. They just push everything off to the airline. it's the airline's fault. The airline has to deal with it. We don't have to deal with it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you booked it. You picked it. You did this. And she's like, yeah, but it's the airline, blah, blah, blah. We just went in the same circle for so long. I will spare you the 2 hours of all that. So we get our new tickets, and guess what we do again? We check our bags again. We go through security again, and we go find a gate again. And we're sitting there waiting for a flight that was gonna take off at 8:30 at night. Yeah, remember we started our morning at 3 a.m. Get our first flight, and we fly from Miami to Panama, which is in Central America, really, really close to South America. This was the most southern I have ever been. And our flight landed at 10:30 their time, which would have been 12:30 back at home. But after that, we had another flight to El Salvador that took off at about 6 a.m. So now we have this like 7.5, 8 hour gap. And while we were on the flight attendant starts to pass out customs forms. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was like, we're not touching our bags at all. We have luggage tags that say every place, and basically they're supposed to end up at our final destination, which is Roatan, which is a little island off of Honduras. And so I'm trying to explain to him the situation, like, we're just gonna camp out in the airport. There's no point of going and getting a hotel for a few hours because we'd have to go through customs, which would take a while, find a hotel, check in, get there, sleep for maybe 2-3 hours, and then come back and restart the process. We're like, no, we'll just sleep in the airport, I guess. And he's like, well, I don't know if you can do that. What do you mean? That's what the people told us to do. He's like, well, the airport isn't always open. I was like, well, I thought it was supposed to be open 24/7. I thought that's literally how an airport works. He's like, well, sometimes they don't have flights, so they shut down. I was like, excuse me? I didn't want to be left in a country I had never been to before, not knowing what I'm supposed to do or where I'm supposed to go or how to do any of this. So I asked him, I was like, will you please wait with me, my friend, and help us figure this out? He's like, yeah, of course, just wait for me after you get off the plane and I will talk to the gate agent. And I was like, okay, perfect, thank you. So we land and he talks to them in like fluent Spanish, and he's like, okay, yeah, you guys are good to go. You can sleep here. He'll make sure that your bags get over to where they're supposed to be and not through customs. And I'll give you guys some blankets and some water. And I was like, oh my gosh. So first of all, those blankets are really soft. And second, if we did not get those, we would have been so cold. So we sleep in the airport, or at least she slept. I really couldn't sleep. I ate some Cheez-Its and took a little bit of a nap. But yeah, so then dark and early in the morning, we took our next flight from Panama to El Salvador, and that one was pretty quick, really easy. We both slept almost the entire time on the flight, which was so rare for me. I can't sleep on planes, but I did a lot of sleeping on flights this trip. Pretty nice airport, and which was so surprising to me because I would have never thought this Central America country would have a nice airport. It literally was like in the middle of a field, but it was, yeah, it was really nice. So hung out there for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Then took our fourth flight to Roatan, which was our final destination, and that's where the cruise ship would be on a Tuesday. Right now it was Monday. I hadn't said that. Sunday to Monday, it's Monday morning, we get to Roatan, and Tuesday morning the ship would be there. We landed in Roatan, and we actually took this little plane with literal propellers, which I saw when we landed with our first plane. I literally said to Ashley, my friend who came with me, oh my gosh, look at that plane. That's scary. I don't want to go on that. I jinxed it. We went on it. But it wasn't bad. It was just loud. But yeah, we landed there. Roatan was absolutely beautiful. We got to fly over the island. Once there, we went through the customs. The custom guy was really helpful, and he had told us that because we were leaving the next day, we had to go to the immigration office before we got onto the cruise ship. And I was like, okay, good to know. I didn't know that. So he was helpful. We get through, we go find the American Airlines people. And while we were doing all this flying, my dad had booked us / got us a reservation at a hotel like nearby because we didn't know what was gonna happen. Like American is supposed to provide us a hotel, but we didn't know if we had to pick the hotel. So, you know, he had that as like a backup. So we're talking to them and said, you're supposed to get us a hotel. This is the one my dad found. And the guy just looked at us and was like, no. I'm like, what do you mean no? Like, you have to get us a hotel. He's like, you don't want that. It looks fine to me. It was like a 3.5-star hotel. I mean, it's nice. There's a pool, there's a beach, there's a bed. That's literally all I care about. But he said that they have a relationship with only one hotel, and it was 30 minutes away. And I was like, great, I'm gonna have to pay for a taxi 30 minutes both ways. And he said, no, we pay, like, we got the transportation too. I was like, okay, fine, just do your hotel, whatever. I'm so glad that we went with it because it was an all-inclusive resort on West Bay, which is where if we had got there with the ship for our port day, we were gonna take a taxi over to West Bay and find a beach over that way. So we literally got to have our port day a day early when it should have been our at-sea day, and so we just kind of flip-flopped them. Once we got into the resort, we checked in, we got super cool room. Every single like room, they were little villas actually. Every villa had 2 hammocks. So we got to lay there on the hammocks. We immediately took some showers because we just felt so gross after traveling for over 24 hours. After all of that, you know, I could finally breathe. I was like, we made it. We made it to Roatan. Now we just gotta wait for the ship. We're hanging out, we go to the beach, we go swimming, we get drinks, we get food. It was all inclusive. Hung out there, watched a beautiful sunset, got to take a bunch of pictures and just play in the water, in the sand, feel the heat. It was like 90 degrees. The water was probably 80 degrees. It was awesome. We literally passed out that night, just fell asleep. It felt good to be laying in a bed and not on the floor of an airport. And the next morning, we had breakfast, we packed up our stuff, we got our little transportation over to the immigration office. That went smooth. Then I paid a total of $5 for a taxi from immigration to the port. We got on the ship and all of that went smooth as well. When we finally got to our room on the ship, I just felt my entire body relax. And I was like, we did it. We made it. We made it. We made it. We made it. And that is how we got on the ship. So it makes for a wild story, which is why I needed to share it with you guys. There was a bunch of other people that missed the ship as well, but all of theirs was weather related, and we kept being told that because our issue started with mechanical at the very, very beginning, that little hiccup that I just thought it was going to be, which turned into much more. If it wasn't for that, we would have had to pay for every single thing when, again, all that I ended up paying for was a $5 taxi plus little snacks here and there. Long story short, don't book air through your cruise line. They don't help you. It would be no different than you just booking your air anyways, because again, it would be the airline protecting you. Like, you booked with the airline, they have to do all that stuff. We booked with them because I thought that the cruise line was going to be responsible, but clearly that's not true. It's the airline, and that would be the same thing if you just booked your own air. So save yourself, book your own flights that you want to, book with your favorite airline, and hopefully you have a lot better experience than I do. I've always flown the morning of, but now because of this, I will be flying the night before, and that's again what people were always saying, is that people always fly the morning of until they have an issue, and then they start to fly in the night before, and that's exactly what has happened to me. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up as a hug and a pat on the back, because I did it. Hopefully you enjoyed the story and, you know, found it entertaining at all. I look back and it seriously was such a crazy adventure, but in the moment I was so stressed out of my mind. But yeah, it was a fun story to tell you guys. So leave a comment below of either your worst flight experience or travel experience, because I want to know what some of you guys have gone through yourselves. And with that being said, I will see you on Thursday. Peace.